Whatever became of Ethel Whitehead?
Oh, didn't you know?
Mm-mm.
She ran away with Joe Cavaney. They were married and lived happily ever after.
Well, they deserve each other. I'm only interested in the Castlemans and the Forbes, in their future.
Sorry to interfere with your evening like this, Mr. Castleman, but something came up that couldn't wait.
Well, let's have it.
Please sit down, Martin.
No thanks, Ethel.
The name is Mrs. Lorna Hanson Forbes.
Mrs. Forbes. It's about Grady. Nick Prent has been trying to reach you long distance. Grady's been killed.
Killed?
Automobile accident. He was drinking. Must have lost control of his car.
Drinking? Who says so?
Prenta found a bottle in the wreck.
Well, Prenta lied. Grady doesn't drink. He was murdered. Grady must have been on the track of something, and Prenta found out, and that's why he killed him. That cheap hood, I pulled him out of a garbage can and gave him a start. I'm going to dump him back in the garbage can.
That's quite a problem now that he's been alerted.
Unless we send out someone to check. Someone he'd never suspect. Lorna.
No.
Oh, you can't be serious.
I don't know anyone I'd have more confidence in. Anyone more perfect for the job. You can do it, Lorna. You're the one person who can find out if he killed Grady.
George, you really want me to go out there?
Well, why not? Nick is a setup for you. He's always sucking around cafe society.
Well, you can't let her risk it. He's a killer.
Listen, bookkeeper, you're paid to keep my accounts, not to tell me what I'm doing. Now get out.
George.
Get out!
George, did it ever occur to you that I might have something to say about this?
I'm sorry, dear. What did you wish to say?
From what I've heard tonight, Mr. Prenta isn't likely to pour out his life story without very strong inducements. There must be a limit to, well, how far you want me to try to induce him.
Well, you know how to handle it. I've got to know what's going on out there.
Would you send your wife?
Why bring my wife into it?
Why bring me into it?
Because my wife is incompetent for this job, and you're not. I equipped you for it. Every Paris label, they can all pay off now.
What am I? One of your slot machines? Another racetrack? Another wire service you've underwritten? Is that all I've meant? Just another investment?
You know better than that. Forget it and forgive me. I simply took it for granted that you were part of me and the things that concern me. I see I had no right to take that much for granted.
You had every right to ask anything of me. But please don't ask me to believe that you've regarded me as a part of you.
We've both had to wait, Lorna. I don't think it'll be much longer. If you do this job for me, I promise, when you get back, I'll be free. Will you believe me?
I learned a long time ago, George, that the customer's always right.
One newspaper calls you an Oklahoma heiress, another says you're from Wyoming. Which is it, Mrs. Forbes?
Are you this inquisitive with everyone you meet, Mr. Prenta?
It's a habit I picked up in my business.
Well, perhaps that's where it should stay.
It's a good rule any place. People I deal with, I like to know about.
And in what way do you feel you're dealing with me?
Well, right now, I'm only dancing with you. As for the future, I had something more interesting in mind.
Then you'd better change your mind. Have I made myself clear, Mr. Prenta?
My friends call me Nick.
Oh, I wouldn't be so presumptuous as to try to break into your little circle of friends.
I moved into your circle. Oh, come on. Don't you think we're wasting a lot of time? What are you doing tomorrow?
You're the masterful type. You tell me. Nick, I'd say your swimming pool is the best-looking one in the West.
It ought to be. I spent over 10 grand for it. Lorna, how long we known each other?
6 wonderful weeks, Nick.
A long-distance call, Mr. Prenta. Detroit.
Yeah, coming. Wait here for me, Lorna, will you? It'll only be a few minutes. Business,
All right.
Huh? Yeah? Yeah, all right, we'll work out the details tonight. No, you better let me call you. We'll make arrangements to pick you up in Chicago. Yeah, don't worry about it. Hold it, Eddie. What are you doing here, Lorna? Thought I told you to wait by the pool.
Could I have a cigarette?
There's a half dozen trays around the pool filled with cigarettes.
And there must be more than half a dozen women who could be, well, calling you long distance.
Oh. So long, Eddie. You're jealous, Lorna, huh? That's good.
No, I'm not so sure. I've been warned about you, Nick. I have a friend who has a friend who's heard rumors.
You believe rumors?
Yes, sometimes. I'm told that that you've even ordered men killed.
That's what I mean about rumors.
Well, do you?
Do I what?
Order men to be killed?
Lorna, your old man made his money in oil. That made you an heiress. I never knew my father or anyone I could call that, so I've had to make it myself. I'm making it. But there's always people who try to take it away. You either protect what you got or you got nothing.
And to do that, you'd kill?
You don't like what you're hearing, huh?
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Well, that's because you never had to be a part of it. You never had to watch yourself 24 hours a day against somebody trying to cut you down. The guy he sends out to trip you up. The guys you can't trust. You gotta take measures, that's all.
Nick, suppose you couldn't trust me. Would you order me killed?
No, Lorna. I'd do it myself.
Thank you, Nick. No. Save the kiss for tonight.
I can't make it tonight.
Oh? That long-distance call?
Maybe. I'm expecting some people over. Strictly business.
Oh.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Maybe. It depends on what kind of business.
Ethel?
What are you doing here, Martin?
I go where George sends me. Sent me here to check on one of his investments. Hasn't heard from you in some time.
He hasn't heard from me because I've had nothing to report. I've been doing the best I can.
Yes, George knows you've been busy. He's had reports on that.
Look, I was ordered to ingratiate myself with Nick Prenter. That's exactly what I've done. No more, no less.
George thinks you've been taking his orders too literally. I'm inclined to agree with him.
Your agreement or disagreement doesn't interest me.
No? You'd be amazed to learn how highly my opinions are regarded, Ethel. That's why I'm in a position to offer you some advice. Don't hold out on George. If you do. Now, are you absolutely certain you've learned nothing?
Nothing he didn't already know?
Prenter did have Grady killed.
Yes.
What else?
Nothing else.
In all the time you've been with him, all the hours alone, you've learned nothing else, not even the people he talks to?
Well, sometimes there are calls, long distance.
From whom?
I don't know.
From where?
Well, there was one from Detroit.
When?
This afternoon.
Go on. What's the rest? What'd you hear?
Well, nothing, except that, he's expecting some people tonight. It's business, a meeting. That's all I know, Marty, and all I want to know. I've had enough.
Oh, you're upset. I thought you were enjoying your work. Or has Prenter become important to you?
He means nothing to me, except he's a human being, and he trusts me.
Don't tell me that disturbs you, taking advantage of a man's trust. Well, you can ease your stricken conscience because your friend won't be vulnerable much longer.
What do you mean by that?
You don't think George intended him to live, do you? George had been waiting until he had all the facts, and you're going to get them.
No, I can't. I won't.
You're going to find out every person who's at that meeting and why he's there.
I can't go through with it. This is killing you're talking about. A man's life. I want no part of it.
You want no part of it. You are a part of it. What do you think you've been living on, playing on, traveling on? Where do you think the money came from that converted you into the fashionable Mrs. Forbes? Came from 100 killings, 1,000 beatings, all the pennies and nickels and dimes squeezed out of 1,000,000 fists. All the $3 payments at the foot of the stairs to help make you a lady of refinement. No, you can't get out of it, Miss Whitehead. You hitched a ride on the roller coaster, and it doesn't stop, and nobody gets off until the trip's over.
Marty, please help me.
Oh, how can I? You wanted the trip, and you took me along with you. I can't help you now any more than I can help myself. Now, just do what George sent you to do. Find out about that meeting tonight.